Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Wonder Woman 1984. This was once again directed by Patty Jenkins. She also serves as co-writer of this film. Gal Gadot returns as Wonder Woman and Chris Pine returns as Steve Trevor. Added to the cast this time is Kristen Wiig and Pedro Pascal. The film opens up with a young Diana and we get to see her and the skills that she's learning. Then the film really skips into 1984, where Diana Prince lives quietly among mortals in the vibrant, sleek 1980s. Though she's come into her full power, she maintains a low profile by curating ancient artifacts and only performing heroic acts incognito. But everything changes when she finds herself squaring off against Maxwell Lord and Cheetah, a villainess who possesses superhuman strength and agility. This particular stone allows people's desires to come true, but it comes at a cost. Diana's race against time to try and find this stone and stop it from falling into the wrong hand. Look, there's aspects of this film I liked and some aspects I didn't. I'm going to start with the things I did like. I love the opening sequence where it's set on Themyscira, where Diana's from. She's young and she's ultimately in this competition, like Olympic Games kind of concept. And it's really pitting her strengths against the stronger and older women. This sequence in the film I really loved. I thought it was a great way to open it. I wanted to see more of this. I feel like we really should have a film or a TV series where Diana is younger and we get to see her evolution and becoming the hero she does before everything transpires. I think Gal Gadot is fantastic as Wonder Woman. She's really captured that. I think Patty Jenkins brings that character to life in such a beautiful and brilliant way. And you really feel that Gal's really understands that character and really is transforming and evolving it in such a great way. She was the best thing about the film. I was really impressed by her. But there's some great action sequences and set pieces that really work, especially there's one involving some trucks and this one, her going up against Cheetah in the White House, which I really loved. And the third act of the film isn't too bad as well, with the direction that it takes and some of the sequences that transpire there. I love the aspect of people not knowing who Wonder Woman is. And she goes around and does all these really good deeds and acts and helps people. And she sort of is still a mystery, and I kind of like that. Because she's keeping the shadows, but she's still being the hero that she knows she can and wants to be. I think that's a really effective way to go about it. There's a robbery that she stops at the start of the film in the shopping mall, and this sequence alone reminded me a lot of original Superman or the Superman sequels. And it's kind of cheesy but fun. It's the first time anyone's really got to see Wonder Woman, much like they got to see Superman. And they go on this sort of helping people journey, and then they've sort of been becoming known around the world. No one really knows who they are quite yet. And that's sort of what this film did in a lot of ways. I'm not giving anything away, but in the trailer she's wearing this golden suit and with wings, and the story behind that and what that actually represents was really fascinating and interesting, but they just didn't quite do much with it. But I kind of like the aspect of this sort of history. I guess I'm more interested in the Amazon history of Diana and her people than anything else. That's something we don't know a lot about. I know there's some stuff in the comics, but there's nothing been really set completely at that time. Some of the humorous moments worked for me. Chris Pine was okay in sequences. There's a sequence where they ultimately pay tribute to something that's really well known in the Wonder Woman world, and that has always been part of her mythology, and I think it's really cleverly done. And I like how she has to rise up and be this hero again, and that she's coming up against things she hasn't come up against before, and it's about trying to navigate through that and overcome that. I really like that as well. Some of the music was really good, and the 80s vibe of the film worked, but ultimately that's what I really liked about the film. I found it weighed down a lot. It was a bit boring in parts. It didn't really have a clear focus. It's like the first film did. This film just feels like there's too much going on. You've got Maxwell Lord, who's sort of a villain within it, who sort of reminds me of Lex Luthor in a lot of ways. And then you've got Cheetah as well and her story, and then Wonder Woman and her story. And it just feels like a little messy in parts. Like I said, certain things work, but overall I just felt it lacked a focus of what story it wanted to tell and what direction it was headed in. And I don't know if I liked the idea of how they brought Steve Trevor back. I thought that was a bit silly. I don't know how that kind of worked within the world. It felt a little more supernatural than it should have. Cheetah's an interesting character. I don't know if Kristen Wiig was the best choice for it, I think. And I kind of didn't like how they created her character before she becomes Cheetah. Felt like she was playing a character more like Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2, with glasses and sort of nerdy and become this amazing thing. And I think that's been overused, and they used that again in here, but I think it's been more effective in other films. Visually, when they brought Cheetah to life, it doesn't look very good, unfortunately. The visual effects are pretty shonky, and the whole sequence and fight sequence with her and Wonder Woman, poorly put together. It's sharp cuts, you can't really see what's going on, they're trying to cover all the visual effects, and I just don't think it works ultimately, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of Pedro Pascal either. Like, I haven't seen The Mandalorian, he's probably really good in that, but I just keep seeing him play a villain, and he sort of plays a villain in a similar way. He's very over the top here because the film's sort of going for the more comical aspect and feels more like early superhero movies than what we have today. I just found his character kind of silly and over the top, and like I said, he's a lot like Lex Luthor. You sort of feel for him a little bit because of what's happening in his life, but not enough to really invest in him or really care about him or what's going on. Like I said, a lot of the humor is silly. Didn't really like that. I just didn't feel a connection to this. Even when Steve Trevor reappears in Diana's life, I didn't feel a connection between the two that I did in the first film. I wouldn't say this film was bad. I just didn't connect to it and didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. And I felt disappointed by it, and I felt bad I didn't like it more than I did. Final thoughts. In the end, it's really about how sometimes we might desire something so much we'll go to extreme lengths to achieve it or obtain that goal. I think that's really what the film's sort of looking at. I'm going to give Wonder Woman 1984 3 out of 5. It was fine. I just wish this was better. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe down the bottom. Follow me on Facebook. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.